Yeah, my name is Dale Bond, and I am a mother of 3, a wife, and I've lived in the Grande Prairie community for the last 28 years. So in 2011, my 11-month-old daughter got quite ill, and on about the 4th day of being in the hospital, she was medevaced, went into complete cardiac and respiratory arrest, and was medevaced to Edmonton by transport team from the intensive care unit came and picked her up. When she finally arrived, we had one of the transport team come out and meet us, just letting us know that she was very, very sick and that we likely would not recognize her when we went in the room. So we went into the room, saw her, and it was something we weren't expecting. And we knew in that moment that the next 24 hours were critical to her survival. So she made it through the night, and then the following day, we had a cardiologist come to us and just let us know that they're doing everything they can to get her stabilized, but they wanted to be prepared if they had to go to the final step, which was life support. So we signed all the papers in the case that had to happen. And within hours, the intensive care unit was shut down and she was in surgery, getting placed on life support. What we knew at that time was that as long as she was on it, she was alive, so she wouldn't pass away. But the longer she was on it, there was also the opportunity for her to have a stroke and lose function of many bodily parts. So she was placed on life support, and throughout the next week, they slowly turned it down, trying to get her off. The quicker they come off, the more likely they are to be successful later in life with less impact, negative impact. So within a week, she was on it for a week. She did come off life support successfully, and she was still on a very heavy breathing machine and oscillator. And so she was still in a medically induced coma because they had to stop her from breathing on her own because the machine was doing it for her. And so that kind of went on for a couple days. And then after 2 days, they realized her kidneys weren't working. So, which is something they can't monitor when they're on life support. So they went and put her in surgery again, shut down the unit because she was too sick to be moved for surgery. They put her on dialysis, and the doctor had no sooner come out and told us that everything went well, she was doing great. They were just cleaning her up and we'd be able to go in and see her. So we finished doing our update, put away the computer, and suddenly the clinical nurse came out to see us in the waiting room at the hospital and just let us know, asked if the doctor had come, and we said, yeah, we know that they're cleaning her up and we're going to make our way in there. And she looked at us and sat down and said, I'm so sorry, but she's gotten really sick again. So we're not sure what's happening, but the doctors are working on her. And then on her first birthday, she was moved into a surgical ward. And it was at this time that they started talking about amputations. We knew there was going to be amputations, but they started to discuss that this was the next step, because up to this point we hadn't asked. We were too scared to ask what was next. So she moved into a surgery ward, and it was at that time that they wanted to send her home eventually with her limbs as they were, because they didn't want her to have to be in a hospital for longer. Their words to us were that people heal better when they're with family. So they wanted her to take some time to heal and didn't want to send her to be an inpatient in the rehab hospital. And then kind of near the end of March, on March 25th, they decided that we should seek supported accommodations elsewhere with her. And that way they could do her amputations, but she could also be an outpatient instead of an inpatient. So she could be home when she was ready and then continue with her medical journey. So on March 28th, 2011, she had multiple amputations. She's amputated on her right leg and mid-femur, her left leg mid-tibia, her right hand at the wrist, and her left hand has numerous digits. So the next amputation surgery went well. She was complete champ, and A couple days later, we moved into supported accommodation, and she just continued to thrive and get better. And about a month after that, she was finally released from hospital, but had to spend another 4 months in Edmonton. We went in my mind, it was going to be a place that was solemn and sad and filled with a lack of privacy. And then we walked in and you felt this weight just leave your body. It was beyond what we could have even imagined. There was someone there that was always caring for you as the caregiver, just ensuring that your needs were being met. The medical team does a fantastic job caring for the sick person, and that's their job. But when you have the opportunity to stay somewhere where they care for the family, because we know when anyone's sick, the whole family's sick. So having someone take care of our needs meant the world to us. It gave us an opportunity to thrive and be healthy so that we could go into the hospital and see our child and just understand and listen and be better and more ready for them. Right? So we had our family together. It was an opportunity to experience a bit of normalcy in a journey that was far from normal. So at first it was the result of her needing to be out of hospital, but still within the city, so she could be an outpatient. So that was the first push for it. But then as soon as you got there, you realize, why didn't we try to access something like this earlier? We spent the first 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks, sleeping in waiting rooms, sleeping on cots, sleeping in chairs. We had a hotel room, but we didn't spend a single night there because it was silence, right? And you had too much time with your thoughts. So being somewhere where there's other families, where there's other people experiencing that journey, it just makes it, you have a built-in family, and your journeys are different, but your paths cross. And with each other, you share you can celebrate the milestones where the positive things, but then you also grieve the loss, and you can grieve the hard times. So it's, well, the financial impact, as you can imagine, was quite large. Both my husband and I were in Edmonton, so neither of us were working. And so not only do we not have an income, but you still have all your bills at home. Like, life doesn't stop because you have a sick family member. So we still had to keep up with that, but then also a totally another life we had to fund, right? So it was quite astronomical. You've left your community, you've left your family, and you know they're there to support you, but it's hard to, and you feel that 100%, but you don't want to burden them with the reality of what you're going through, and it's hard to explain what you're going through. So you stay positive and share pieces of your journey with them, but no one truly understands that besides others who have gone through it. And I would say, our community should support the development of the Ken Sargent House, as illness affects everyone. No one is immune to illness. Whether you've had a sick family member or whether you haven't, there's always someone who needs support. So you've probably known someone who has used supported accommodation. If you haven't, you probably will, or know someone who should have used it or needed it. So being able to support a family's journey, you're supporting the family's healing. And not only do you alleviate some of the emotional stress for that family, you're alleviating some of the financial burdens that they carry, but you're also supporting your community. And when you support your community, you're creating a culture of empathy and compassion, hope. You become the light for that person, for that family.